Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And what a dark day in New Jersey Devils history it was yesterday, my friends. The Devils heading to Dallas without Jackhughes, looking for 2 points against the Dallas Stars. And they fall in the most devastating fashion possible by a score of 4-3 on a very, very late third period goal. There's so much to get to. I am completely gutted. Down in the dumps. I'll get to the game, the possible ramifications on the trade deadline. There's so much stuff. But win or lose, we booze, guys. Cheers, win or lose, we booze. This is the great Martin Brodeur's vodka. This is his company. Dirty Devil Vodka. Smooth as hell. And I've been drinking this all night. I'm going to take one more little bottle shot. But win or lose, we booze on these parts, if you don't know. And wow, let's get to the game. This one really stings, and it's going to sting for a while. First period, Wyatt Johnston picks up the puck in the Dallas D zone and just cooks Dougie Hamilton. Goes end-to-end on a breakaway, beats Markstrom. And wow, what a way to start the game. At 1:39, Johnston's 22nd of the season gives the Stars a 1-0 lead, and at that point, I was stunned. First game without Jackhughes. Sheldon Keefe decides to stack all the big boys on the first line, so the first line goes Timo Meier, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier. We put all the firepower on the first line. Essentially, with Jack going down, we went from a two-line team to now a one-line team, looking to find a way, but down 1-0 early. Dougie Hamilton gets injured late in the first period, forced to play with 5 defensemen for the rest of the game. Obviously not ideal. Hopefully Dougie's fine, but who knows what's going to happen with that. We'll probably get some news in the next couple of days with him. But Devils down 1-0 after one, and it did seem after the first period like an insurmountable lead. It just seemed like the Devils were going to struggle all night, and being down 1 on the road against a very good Stars club without Jackhughes in the lineup, it was a bit discouraging. I did think we were possibly going to get destroyed in the game. I really did. I just had a bad feeling. Second period starts. I can't even believe this game. Lyubushkin picks it up in the Dallas D-zone, skates all the way from one end to the other, and just rips it from the circle past Markstrom. Nearly another end-to-end goal. Couldn't believe it. I think the stat they gave, it was like Lyubushkin's first goal in like a year or something. Completely insane. His first goal of the season at 6:30 gives the Stars the 2-0 lead. And at that point, I'm not going to lie, I was down and out. Down 2-0, I thought the game was, at that point, completely over, and the Devils didn't have a chance. But, of course, in typical Devils fashion, they have to make it interesting. A mere 39 seconds later, after Dallas scores, Devils on the power play, and Timo Meier with a beautiful one-time blast from the right circle, his 17th of the season from Nico Hischier and Luke Hughes, cuts the Dallas lead to 2-1. And what a shot from Timo Meier. The March of Meier is underway. He's now scored 2 goals in the first 3 games in the month of March, as you all know, or should know by now. Timo led the entire NHL in goals last March. After interim coach Travis Green took over when Lindy Ruff was fired, they put Timo on the right side on power play 1. And what do you know? He led the league in goals. And here we are, Timo on the right side on power play 1 with an absolute cannon blast. And I have to rant for a little bit about Timo Meier. Number one, I have to get some things off my chest. A lot of you have been super down on Timo Meier, and I've defended him constantly, and I've explained time and time again that he was snake-bitten for a stretch. I think he scored like 1 goal in 20-something games or something, generating tons of chances for himself, generating chances for others. As a team, the New Jersey Devils have just lacked any sort of finishing ability, it seems like, for quite a while, pretty much all of 2025, outside of a game here or there. The finish has not been there. And it's been unfortunate, but a lot of people have been down on Timo. I've defended him time and time again. He is one of our best forwards. He is one of our toughest forwards. He does things that no one else in our lineup can do. He is a big bull of a man, drives play, goes to dirty areas, smashes guys. Your boy Ace loves Timo Meier. I will always defend him, and he's been our best forward on the ice many nights. And here he is now starting off March with 2 goals in the first 3 games. The March of Meier is underway. We are going to need him to step up massively down the stretch if we're going to hold on to this playoff spot. And it's become a dogfight. But on another note for Timo Meier, I will say, some kid on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, put out some analytics nonsense regarding the fact that, everyone crying for Timo on the right side. It's this false narrative, and it's not a real thing. And I'm here to tell you that thing was complete nonsense. If you bought what he was selling, shame on you. First and foremost, in the stats he was using, or I'm not even going to call them stats, I'm going to call them analytics. In his analytics, he was using expected goals for and all the expected goals, anticipated goals, goals you should have scored, goals that you almost scored. I don't care about any of that. In the end, it all comes down to actual goals that were scored. I don't care about expected. I don't care if you tell me that we're expected to score this amount of goals. In the end, it's all nonsense. I hate on most of the analytics. And this kid puts this thing out about that and trying to illustrate the fact that Timo Meier is the same player on the left wing and the right wing. I am here to tell you that is unequivocally false. It couldn't be further from the truth. Timo Meier is clearly better on the right side. If your eye test doesn't tell you that, I don't know what to tell you. But back to the nonsense he put out. In the stats he showed, the stats did favor Timo on the right wing by a little bit. It was a few percent or whatever, but he tried to chalk it up to like nothing, right? And in the end, that's using analytics of expected goals. No one cares about expected. In the 16 games Timo Meier played as right wing in his little sample size, Timo had 8 goals in 16 games, which is 0.5 goals a game, meaning he scores a goal every other game. That's on the right wing. On the left side, I believe he had 20 goals in the other 53 games, which when you average it out, it's far less than a half a goal per game. So right there, when we're looking at actual goals scored, Timo is better on the right side than the left. And even his expected goals for were better for the right side. So shame on anyone who believed that. It was a false narrative. I don't know what point he was trying to prove. I am here to tell you Timo Meier is undoubtedly better on the right side than the left. And again, for all of those of you that have played hockey before, Timo Meier is a left-handed shot. So on the right wing, Timo likes to do a move where he'll hold the stick in his right hand and he will play the puck one-handed with the puck on the wall in his right hand and use his body and left side to kind of dip the shoulder and use to shield. And he'll also dip the shoulder and drive towards the net. And when he does that, he takes the stick in his right hand, one-handed, he pulls the puck back across his body to his forehand, and that's where he's most effective. And on the flip side, when he's waiting for those one-timers, he'll be in the right circle with the stick locked and loaded, and when the puck comes, it's right in his wheelhouse, and he just starts cranking them. He's clearly more effective on the right side. If you watch the game, anytime that Timo's kind of skating the puck, he always goes to the right side. Why is that? Because he's a left-handed shot, and 90% of left-handed shots would probably tell you they would prefer to play right wing than left wing, and Timo Meier is no different. The evidence speaks for itself. You saw what he did last March on the right wing. The expected goals for and that nonsense showed that he was better on the right side. And then obviously the most important stat of all, 8 goals scored in 16 games versus 20 goals scored in 53 games on the left side. The debate should be over. If you don't believe it, I'm not trying to convince you anymore. It is fact. Timo Meier should be on the right wing, and I hope we see him there. I do believe he's been put on the left side because Sheldon Keefe believes that overall the lineup is more balanced with Timo on that side. But in the end, Timo is one of our best forwards. I think you have to put him in the best position to succeed, and he belongs on the right side and obviously on power play 1. The proof speaks for itself. I'm tired of talking about it. Timo is much better as a right winger than a left. End of Timo rant. Devils down 2-1 midway in the second, and then an absolutely heartbreaking sequence of events late in the second period. Johnny Kovacevic flips the puck over the glass and gets hit with the delay of game. And then shortly into the power play, Luke Hughes gets called for a slashing, which I thought was, kind of weak. I didn't think that needed to be called, but obviously the referees are doing the Devils no favors. Luke Hughes gets called for the slash on Duchesne with 26 seconds left, giving the Stars a 5-on-3. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, we're down 2-1. We get the stupid delay of game penalty. And also, I don't know if it's just me. I feel like we've taken a million delay of game penalties this season. I feel like we may lead the league in those. I might have to look into that. But Luke comes off for the slash. Stars the 2-man advantage to close out the second period. They win the draw, and sure enough, Stars working it around after winning the faceoff. They find Hintz right in front. Easy, bang, little bang-bang shot for Hintz. Puts it in the net, and it's his 25th of the season at 19:46. Only 14 seconds left. So close to getting out of the period unscathed. Dallas up 3-1 after 2. And at that point, I once again thought we were dead. I was like, that's it. We came back with that first goal to cut it to 2-1. We gave up the backbreaker late on the 5-on-3, and we're cooked now. Down 3-1 going into the third. I was very doom and gloomy. I'll be honest. I was very doomy and gloomy. Third period starts. Devils looking like they're picking it back up, and they did in that second period as well. They kind of came to life after getting largely dominated in that first period. Despite the stats, the Devils looked horrible in that first period. Third period, Devils back on the power play. They're working it around. Luke takes a shot from the point, and Nico gets the tip in front at 12-18. Nico Hischier's 26th on the power play from Luke Hughes and Jesper Bratt. And once again, I'm like, here we go again. The same old script. Devils, too little, too late. Tease us with the attempted comeback. And I thought at that point we would lose 4-2 on an empty net. But the tease got worse. Oh, it got so much worse. A few minutes later, delayed penalty. Devils in the O-zone. Pesce makes some really nice moves at the line to keep the puck in the zone. Devils make a few passes. Pesce creeps towards the net. He ends up getting the puck in front. He hesitates for a split second, holds, and he rips one right into the back of the net. At 15:52, Brett Pesce's second of the season from Timo Meier and Jesper Bratt ties the game at 3 with 4:08 remaining. And at that point, I said, oh, my God. Are we going to witness one of the best Devils comebacks of the season? Is this going to be the morale boost that this team so desperately needs amidst an absolute bloodbath for a playoff spot with Jackhughes out of the lineup due to injury for who knows how long at this juncture? On the road, could this possibly be? Game all tied at 3 with just over 4 minutes left, and the Devils started to take it to the Stars. I thought there was a chance we were going to win in regulation there for a couple minutes. I was like, take this game in regulation. This would be the best win of the season, hands down, had they pulled it off. But no, it was not meant to be. With 14.7 seconds left, Johnny Kovacevic ices the puck, and a very controversial icing. The puck kind of went right near Harley's stick. It looked like he could have got it. It was right there, within a couple inches. He doesn't get it. They call the icing. Devils have to take a big D-zone draw with 14.7 seconds left. Sheldon Keefe is furious on the bench again because it looked like it didn't have to be an icing. Harley was right there. It was right near his stick, but he missed it. Devils get hit for the icing. Defensive zone draw. Eric Halla loses the faceoff. Stars immediately fire one on net. Markstrom makes the save. Big rebound comes out. Stars get to it. They make a couple passes. Harley gets it at the top, takes a couple strides, and rips one from the top of the circle right past Markstrom with the screen in front. Harley's 11th of the season at 19:55 gives Dallas the 4-3 lead. And with 4.8 seconds left, it all fell apart. The Devils were 4.8 seconds away from stealing a point in Dallas, with a chance to get a second one in either overtime or the shootout. And the way the Devils were playing in the third period, I think there was a good chance they could have won in the overtime. But either way, an unfortunate chain of events. A bonehead play by Johnny Kovacevic, unfortunately. I love Johnny, but that was a bonehead play. If he had skated up a little bit more before he dumped it in, they could have saved the icing. But I also think it was kind of weak of the referees to call that because it was right there on Harley's stick. But either way, if Kovacevic just skates up a little bit more, crosses the line before he dumps it in, this is a moot point, and it would have never happened. And so, unfortunately, he put us in the position to get hit for that icing. They called it. We couldn't win the draw, and a complete meltdown. A complete meltdown in the final seconds of the game. What looked like a miraculous comeback foiled. The Devils lose out on even getting a point in this one, and it's the most gutting loss, as far as regular season is concerned, that I could recall in quite some time. It has to be one of the worst regular season Devils losses in quite a while, given the whole kind of script with Jackhughes being out possibly for the season. We don't know yet. The playoff standings on the road. We've been struggling the whole year of 2025. It just looked like it could have been one of those games to rally around. Had we won that game, it really could have kind of set as a springboard for the rest of the season, and it all fell apart. The most devastating of losses. Devils lose 4-3, no point. Dougie Hamilton gets injured in the game. We don't know his status. And it's a dark time right now. I am super depressed. We were right there. We were right there from getting a point and just couldn't close it out. Not a great game for Johnny Kovacevic, though. He got that delay of game over the glass. And then the icing. But we get to the game stats. Devils 28 shots on goal. Dallas Stars 21 shots. Devils 43.5% on the faceoffs. Dallas 56.5%. Devils a perfect 2 for 2 on the power play. Stars go 1 for 5 on the power play. Devils with 37 hits. You'd love to see that. Dallas Stars with 12 hits. Devils 12 block shots. Dallas Stars 7 block shots. Devils with 19 giveaways. The Dallas Stars with 23 giveaways. Devils with 3 takeaways and the Stars with 4 takeaways. And that's all she wrote. An absolutely excruciating night in Dallas. 4.8 seconds away from stealing a point with the chance to get another one. And here we are now. So many things going on. Trade deadline is less than 3 days away. Jackhughes, we don't know his future. Will he be back at any point this season? Could he make it back for the playoffs? If we make it, we don't know yet. I do fear the worst, that he will be shut down for the season. We're waiting to hear reports. I don't think they will give us a confirmation on his status until after the trade deadline sometime on Friday. You know, the trade deadline is 3 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, so I'm thinking maybe they'll give us a Jack status update before the game on Friday, which the deadline would have already passed by a few hours, but I'm not expecting to hear anything there until then. Dougie Hamilton, is he gone for the season? What's the diagnosis on him? He went down pretty hard. Who knows what happened with him? If he's gone for any sort of time, that's another massive loss to this Devils team. Obviously, Jonas Siegenthaler got hurt a week or two ago, so we were already playing with Nemitz in the lineup in his place, and now Dougie went down. I mean, it's just one thing after another. This Devils team really seems cursed. I hate to, I'm not making excuses. There just seems to be a black cloud lingering over this organization. And now for the second year in a row, and you can't make this stuff up. This is just like mind-blowing stuff. For the second season in a row, Nico Hischier, Jackhughes, Dougie Hamilton. 3 of the Devils' best players. Jack, Nico, Dougie. All 3 of them were injured last season, and all 3 of them were injured this season. The Devils can't catch a break. Absolutely cannot catch a break. And now we try to hang on to a playoff spot with all of our might. What is Tom Fitzgerald going to do to help this group before the deadline comes on Friday? I thought before the Jack and Dougie injuries now that this roster really needed some help. If Jack is done for the year and Dougie Hamilton is out for any sort of time or the rest of the season, we need a lot of help. And I don't know what Fitz's mindset is going to be at this time. As far as defense goes, I'm very curious to see if on Friday the Devils decide to play both Shimo Nemitz and Seamus Casey in the lineup, or do the Devils try to avoid playing 2 inexperienced guys, and do they call up a guy like Hataka and maybe play Nemitz and Hataka instead of playing both Nemitz and Casey? I don't know. One of the many questions surrounding this team at this point is, who's going to play defense in Dougie's spot on Friday? And what will Fitz do in terms of fixing this roster before then? I hope he doesn't use this as an excuse to punt on the season. You all know how I feel about that. I thought last season was another wasted season. But you guys have to get realistic. This team is not as young as everyone makes it out to be. Everyone talk about the future is bright and all this stuff. This has been going on for years, guys. I am a longtime 30-year Devils fan. I lived through the Devils dynasty years. Every single year under Lou Lamoriello, we were going to the playoffs. It was our guarantee. We're going to the playoffs. The question is, can we win the cup? How far are they going to get? But the playoffs was never a question. And now, just 2 years removed from the franchise record-setting season of 22-23, last year was a dud. We punt on the season, don't get any goalie help, let the season go down the tubes. And here we are now, except it's slightly different this time because we're in a playoff spot. We're not hoping to pull off a miracle and get into one. We are firmly in one right now, and all we have to do is play good enough to not blow it. But given the injuries and the struggles of the team in general, the playoffs, to me, they felt like a coin flip forever, and we're getting closer and closer to that. The lead has shrunk. Teams are on our heels. The wild card is a complete bloodbath. What is Fitz going to do? There is no excuse to not try to improve this roster, and I'm not saying to go out there and mortgage the entire future to try to salvage this season. I'm not saying that by any stretch, but I do think at a minimum 2 moves could be made to help these guys. I think that's owed to them. Again, just for a reminder, the core is not as young as everyone keeps talking about. Everyone's like, our real window to compete is in a few years and the future is bright. I am tired of talking about the future. The future is now. This is the 8th season, guys. The 8th season. Let me repeat that. The 8th season for Nico Hischier and Jesper Bratt. 8th season. And you know what they have to show for 8 seasons in the league up to this point in time right now? You know what they have to show? They made it to the playoffs twice. Made it to the playoffs just twice. The first time their rookie season in 17-18 when Taylor Hall dragged a pretty bad Devils team to the playoffs. That Devils team had no business getting to the playoffs. Taylor Hall dragged the Devils on his back to that playoffs and won the Hart Trophy as the league's most valuable player for his efforts. What a season by Taylor Hall that was. Complete animal. That was their first playoff, and obviously Tampa Bay dispatched us in 5 games in the first round. So that was Nico and Jesper Bratt's first taste of the playoffs in their rookie season, out in 5. And then they didn't make it for several seasons before finally making it back in that 22-23 season, where we did beat the New York Rangers in that glorious 7-game series before getting bounced by Carolina in the second round. But that's it. In 8 seasons, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier have been to the playoffs twice, and they've won a single playoff round. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. A single playoff round. Nico Hischier is an unrestricted free agent in 2 more years from now. So Nico is here for next season and the season after that. And at that point, he could walk. He could say, you know what? It's been fun, guys. I played here for 10 years. I made the playoffs twice, 3 times, whatever it is. And I'm done. I'm trying to truly win a cup in my career. And careers go by like this. Everyone talks about, again, the future, this and that. Cores age very quickly. Guys get traded. Guys leave in free agency. And it's time for this core to make a run. And this is another season now where we're possibly looking at missing the playoffs. It'd be completely unacceptable. Flushing another season of this core down the toilet is grounds for termination, in my opinion, hands down. There's nothing to talk about. For this team not to get to the playoffs would be absolutely disgusting and deplorable. And it cannot happen. Furthermore, there's an entire locker room of guys that are owed much better from Tom Fitzgerald. Jacob Markstrom, Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, and the rest of the guys. All of these guys are owed the best possible scenario for them for the playoffs. And that scenario would involve getting some, at a minimum, 2 bottom 6 guys to help this roster. I do think the roster has plenty of flaws, and they're not all going to get fixed at the deadline. Some of them, it'll take, free agency or trades in the summer to address those. And I don't think anyone's expecting all of them to be fixed at the deadline. But at least fix some of them. Put this team in the best possible position to hang on to a playoff spot and to make some sort of run in the playoffs. A lot of people are going, oh, there's no point. Don't use any assets. This team is cooked. I'll never believe in that. You guys all know I am a win now guy. This team must make the playoffs, and they must try to make a push. Once the playoffs start, anything could happen, and you just got to get there. You just got to get in the playoffs, and anything could happen. You start gelling at the right time. Markstrom gets super hot. You win a round. All of a sudden, now you're in the second round looking to maybe find a way to get to the third. Either way, playoffs are bust. If they don't make it, I will be furious, and I know people will be calling for blood, and they should. With the team we have, injuries or not, it is completely not acceptable to miss the playoffs for 2 seasons in a row. It cannot happen and should not happen. Talked about a lot. I'm just down right now. I'm pissed. I'm sad. A whole lot of emotions coming over me as a degenerate, hardcore New Jersey Devils fan. Then the news came out, and I don't know if this is true. I really thought it wasn't true when I first heard it, but it seems like multiple media outlets have reported it, that apparently Tom Fitzgerald contacted the Carolina Hurricanes to inquire about Mikko Rantanen. When I heard this, I was like, what is going on with Fitz? When I heard it, I didn't believe it at first. And then after I saw it, to call Carolina, inquire on Rantanen seems like complete desperation and insanity, in my opinion. Number one, Carolina would be looking for a sizable haul to trade Rantanen. That's first and foremost. At the moment, outside of gutting our roster of players we would not want to trade, we don't have much to trade at this deadline. We have 3 second-round picks. A lot of people have been talking about Dawson Mercer if he's included, but I don't think they'll trade him. But you could say, okay, maybe Dawson Mercer could be a guy included in a trade. And then the other major piece would be one of the young defensive prospects in Shimo Nemitz or Seamus Casey. Those are basically our biggest bullets in terms of offering for a trade. And then obviously there's the 2026 first-round pick, which again, I don't think Fitz will want to trade that. We don't have a first-round pick this year because we sent it to Calgary in the Markstrom deal, and so we do have a first-round pick next year. I do believe Fitzy will try to hold on to that for next season, but who knows? Maybe if the right deal comes along, he will float that out there. But either way, what pieces do we have to even get Rantanen to start with? Secondly, he is an unrestricted free agent, so you could be trying to trade for him as a pure rental, which I think would be psychotic, to give up assets for a guy that could leave. That's exactly why Carolina might be looking to get rid of him, because they don't think they could sign him. And so they're probably saying, well, instead of going into the playoffs with this guy and then losing him for nothing, let's just cash him in. That seems to be the scenario for Carolina. And outside of that, even if we could re-sign him, he's going to want a fortune. Most reports are saying he wants like $13 million or something. I personally have no interest in Mikko Rantanen at anywhere near that price tag. I wouldn't want to give up the assets to get him here. I would have no interest in re-signing him. I do think that kind of money could be much better spent elsewhere in free agency or on contracts for guys we could trade for. But either way, when I heard that, it just reeks of desperation to me, because I don't believe Rantanen is the type of guy that is going to bring us to the promised land either. Would he make the team better? Absolutely, but I do think there's better fits for what this team needs, and especially given the contract and the money and all of that. But when I heard that, I said, oh boy, Fitz might be really going off the rails. I don't know. But we'll see, guys. Gutting loss. We were 4.8 seconds away from a point. We didn't get it. The team looked super down and out in the post-game interviews. Shout out to Brendan Dillon. That guy is a warrior. He wears his heart on his sleeve. You could tell Dilly really cares. Love me some Brendan Dillon. He is one of the very few heavier, edgier, more violent gentlemen on our team. Heart and soul guy, a total throwback. I love Brendan Dillon. And I wish we had some more guys with heart like him, but he looked devastated in the locker room after the game. This was an absolutely gutting loss for the players, and obviously if you're a huge Devils fan, it was gutting to you as well. I mean, like I said, I think it's the most devastating regular season loss I could recall in quite a while. And I can't even think of another one that comes close off the top of my head at the moment. I'm sure some of you will throw some out there, but this one ranks up there, So where do we go from here, guys? Lots of questions. They will all be answered in a little more than 48 hours. What will Fitz do to help this team at the deadline? When we finally get the diagnosis on Jack, will he possibly be able to return for the playoffs, or is he done for the year? And likewise for Dougie Hamilton, what is the severity of his injury? And now it's, next man up on defense. Who's going to play defense on Friday night against the Jets? So many questions, and it's just a lot, guys. It's a lot to take in. The losing, the injuries, the trade deadline, it's all just weighing on your boy Ace very heavily. And, they're dirty devil, guys. Win or lose, we booze. Nothing like a little medication. But, yeah, let me know what you guys think. I know people are going to be very chatty after this. A lot of you were very chatty in the post-game live. Shout out to all of you that came for that. For those of you that are unaware, I do a post-game live after the MSG broadcast goes off the air with their post-game show. I come on and do a post-game live where we celebrate the wins together or just be miserable together after losses. And this one was miserable. But I'll put the link in the description if you haven't been a part of a post-game live. Maybe it's worth checking out if you're interested. Link in description. But where do we go from here? What's going to happen? I don't know. But let me know in the comments what you thought about this game. I mean, everyone's going to have a very similar viewpoint on this. Anything, everything Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. Anything on the trade deadline? What did you guys think about hearing that Fitz called up Carolina asking about Rantanen? What guys that are still out there do you think Fitz should try to get? Who do you think he actually does get? Just throw it all out there in the comments. This one's sure to be a doozy. But overall, when I look at this game, the Devils, they showed some heart, and they clawed back, and they were oh so close to getting a point. But in the end, the silver linings and moral victories aren't going to do it anymore. They showed heart, and they came back, and that's what made the loss even more gutting. It really, shout out to Timo Meier. And again, for all those hating on Timo, I think Timo was our best forward last night. But throw it all out there in the comments. I'll be back soon. I'm probably going to do I'll probably do an extended live on Friday for the trade deadline. I'll probably have a couple other videos coming out between now and then. But I'm at a loss for words. It's just an unfortunate scenario to be in right now, given where this team looked at the Christmas break. Amongst the best in the league, setting NHL records. And here we are. What a fall from grace. And now we might be without Jack and Dougie Hamilton for the rest of the season. It doesn't get much worse, guys. When it rains, it pours. I just need better days. I just need brighter days for the New Jersey Devils because we have sucked for entirely too long. 12 years of mostly pathetic hockey. We were once a proud franchise. It's crazy. I feel so bad for the new fans that only know losing, that only know and accept losing. We've become a loser franchise, and it must end. I got to get off here. I'm going nuts now. But I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go down.